They wasted no time.
None.
I mean, they came out doing the T-Wolves dirtier than laundry right from the jump. And Edwards and them just trying to get it back to Minnesota for a Game 6. Yeah, no chance of that. Chet Holmgren out in front with the easy dunk. Couple possessions later, the lead is 6. SGA in transition to Holmgren again. And then Alex Caruso. How good has he been on defense all season for this squad? The rip, and then the give back to SGA for the finish. The party is started at OKC right before the end of the first quarter. SGA to Cason Wallace. How about the Wildcats? SGA scored or assisted on 24 of the Thunder's 26 points in that first quarter. Wolves were down 9. They're down 17 after 1. Second quarter, that defense still certified stingy. Holmgren on the denial to Julius Randle. OKC on the break. Holmgren with the finish. It's a 20-point advantage. Next possession for the Wolves, Jalen Williams forces the turnover. He goes the other way. 14 turnovers for the Wolves, the most in the first half this season. They only had 12 made field goals in the first half. That's not a good ratio. SGA, pull-up game on smooth. They're up 31 right before the end of the quarter. SGA made it 65-32 at the break. Thunder, the first team to lead by 30-plus points at half in 3 games in a postseason in NBA history. It wasn't just the Timberwolves they did it to. They did it to the Nuggets as well. SGA, third quarter. Let's see how funky we can get. The steal, the finish. It's a 26-point game. And then SGA, Lou Dort, 3-ball, side pocket, give it to him. It's 88-62 after 3. Caruso with the rebound. How about that hustle? Keeping the play alive. SGA. He tied Michael Jordan and Amari Stoudemire for the most consecutive 30-point games at home in a single postseason in NBA history.
And he not done.
7 straight. Dude, game tougher than well done steak. 34 points, 8 assists. They win it by 30. And guess what? They're headed back to the NBA Finals. Last time they were there, 2012. This is a different team, whole different generation.
To make it this late into the season, a lot of ups and downs, the emotions of the NBA season, the emotion of the playoffs. It's important to be grateful. It's important to enjoy the moment. You know, you never know how many times stuff like this is going to happen. But it's also very important to know that we have more work to do, and I think this group is the perfect group to tackle that mentally.
It's pretty cool. I've never really won anything, so it's cool that I'm one step closer to, winning something big. This moment is very cool. We're going to enjoy it for probably about 2 days, and then, obviously we got bigger fish to fry.
They deserve this. They deserve the opportunity that we have now. I couldn't be happier for them because they invest so much in their own games, but they also invest so much in each other and in the team, and I just think it's a really uncommon thing in professional basketball that they've built.
So the Thunder heading back to the NBA Finals, picking up their 80th win of the season Wednesday. They become just the 4th team to enter the NBA Finals with 80-plus wins, joining the 2016 Warriors and the Bulls in 96 and 97. But what about the other team? The Wolves, second straight trip to the Western Conference Finals, second straight trip. They go home a little early.
They came ready to play. We didn't. When you lose a game like this, it's not really too much to break down. They just did what they were supposed to do and won the game.
Super disappointing, but just the series in general, disappointing. I feel like we know we're a better team than what we showed. So a lot of motivation going into the summer for sure.
How much does it hurt, and what does it feel like to come up short of the finals 2 years in a row?
It's exciting. I don't know why people would think it would hurt. I mean, it's exciting for me. I'm 23. I get to do it a whole bunch of times. I'm hurt more so for myself, for Mike. I came up short for Mike. Like I said, we tried last year. We couldn't get it. We tried again this year. We're going to try again next year. But hurting is a terrible word to use. I'm good, yeah.
It is time. Michael Malone is here because obviously, look, this game was basically over when it started. And this is something we have seen from the Thunder before. How else did you see this play out?
Couldn't agree more. Only 9 first-quarter points for Minnesota. And what got the Thunder going like it has all year long was their defense and their ability to turn teams over, and more importantly, turn those turnovers into easy transition points. Minnesota did not take care of the ball. They had more turnovers at the half than they had made field goals. And as you see on the video, these turnovers ignite the break. Kason Wallace getting out and running, Jalen Williams before that, easy basket after easy basket. And you're not going to beat a good team on the road with this crowd if you turn the ball over as much as they did tonight. So whoever they play in the NBA Finals, they're going to have to find a way to take care of the ball if they're going to have any chance of beating a very impressive OKC Thunder team.
It's an impressive team that will also be well rested because game 1 of the NBA Finals is next Thursday. It's in a completely different month. It's June the 5th. This is a situation where you've been in before, where you've had time from the end of the conference finals before the next round begins. How do you approach the break? Like, if you're coaching this team, what are you saying?
Get as much rest as possible. You know, they beat Denver in a Game 7, and they started this series right after that. So you have a few days to give them off, mental, emotional, physical rest. They've celebrated. They're going to go out tonight and enjoy it, which they should. But I think if I was coaching this team, I'd give the next couple of days off. Get away from the gym, get away from each other, spend time, get your mind right. And then once you know who you're playing, we'll find out tomorrow if Indiana can close out the Knicks. Then you can start turning the page and getting ready for your upcoming opponent come game 1 next Thursday. But use this opportunity to get the much needed rest. I think that's really important right now, while finding a way to keep your rhythm, because they are playing at a very high level.
Oh, we are moving on. Not us. Not literally, but the Thunder are. They're moving on to the NBA Finals. Here's how they got it done. Not just now. We got to go back. First round, Game 3 against the Memphis Grizzlies. The Thunder led the series 2-0, but they trailed in this one by as many as 29 points. Then they stormed back in the second half. They outscored the Grizzlies 63-31 to complete the second biggest comeback in NBA postseason history. Thunder won Game 4. They completed the sweep. And then they moved on to the West semis, where what did we get, Michael Eaves? Thunder Nuggets. We got 7 games of it, too, to get past Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets. In Game 7, though, all Thunder. They blew out the Nuggets 125-93. SGA led the way, 35 points. Jalen Williams, 24 on his own. And that was how the Thunder made it to their first conference finals since 2016, which is where we are now in the West. Taking on the Timberwolves, 5 games to dismiss Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves. The Thunder's put on incredible performance in Game 5 to close this one out. They go to the finals now for the first time since 2012. SGA, Game 5, 34 points, 8 assists, and 7 rebounds en route to winning the MVP for the Western Conference Finals.
All right, joined now by Tim Legler. And Tim, we talk about OKC all season long. We talk about SGA and his ability to score against anybody. And Jalen Williams, a tremendous running partner with that offense. But collectively, it has been this defense that has spurred this team to the NBA Finals. What have you seen about them that makes them so unique?
Oh, Mike, first of all, I just think that's where the fun comes for this team. You know, a lot of teams love to play offense, and they'll shoot you out of the game with a barrage of threes or whatever it may be, these big scoring bursts. They can do that too, but their energy is derived from what they do collectively defensively and the way they feed off of each other. Nobody in the league can pressure the ball to the extent that they can with this many guys that are comfortable 25 to 35 feet from the basket, putting pressure on the basketball. They can hand players off to each other without any drop off in defensive pressure. They've got bigs protecting you in the back line if you happen to get past that shell on the perimeter. And you can see it in their eyes, Mike. They take the fun away from you offensively. They make it frustrating. You get demoralized. They take your spirit on that end of the floor. And they thrive off of it. And you could tell that is really what gets these guys going every night. They want to make a statement on that end of the floor, and clearly they've been the best defensive team in the league this year, and they're continuing to do it in big spots in the postseason.
You know, Tim, throughout the season, as they were building the best record in the league, I felt as though there was all these conversations about why they weren't as good as their record said, why they wouldn't necessarily get out of the West, why they wouldn't be able to win an NBA championship. But through all that chatter, here they are in the NBA final with the league MVP leading them. As you see it right now, and based on who they may play in the NBA final, how does this team not win it all?
they have to be the prohibitive favorite. It doesn't really matter who comes out of the East, whether it's Indiana or the Knicks. And I actually think that NBA Finals are going to be much more competitive than any series that they've seen so far. And I know they had a 7-gamer with Denver, but 2 of those games were 30 and 40-point blowouts as well. I think Indiana and New York will give this team a better test. But here's why they're going to be the prohibitive favorite. It's the depth. And it's the fact that they don't necessarily have to make shots continuously throughout the game to still be able to win a segment of the game, because their defense can hold you to 9 points in a quarter the way they did tonight against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Their defense always keeps them in a game, even if they're not making shots. And then when they're able to turn that into offense, and on those nights when they shoot it well too, you see what they're capable of doing. 5 wins, almost half their wins by 26 or more points in the postseason this year. 1 by 26, 2 in the 30s, 1 40-plus, and 1 50-plus. That's 5 of the 12 wins right there. So this is a team that can turn it on in a big way. And Indiana or New York, whoever escapes that series, they're going to see a level of defensive pressure that they have not seen getting out of the Eastern Conference.
I mean, again, I thought there were a lot of non-believers this year when they were looking at OKC, but here they're in the finals to show everybody just how good they can be, and maybe even NBA championship worthy. Tim Legler here on SportsCenter.
I'm on fire. It's NBA,